Welcome back to another episode of Friday Night at the Barbell, presented by WRPF Alabama, episode 9, featuring Heidi, the Alabama State Chair for WRPF.
Still have it available.
I don't blame you. I think it's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
if it's not, I know one thing, our analytics aren't that good. So sometimes I look at it and I'm like, do I want to I want to sit here and edit for 2 hours for something that 12 people are going to watch?
Right. Yeah. The only thing that keeps me going is every once in a while I'll have somebody that contacts me, and it's a woman who's like, started powerlifting, and so-and-so's story really, because I interviewed a lot of people, and it was like, it just really touched me. And then it tugs at my heartstrings again. I'm like, that's why I did it in the first place, and so that keeps me paying for it to be online.
That was one of the reasons I wanted to get back doing it. At regionals, there were so many people that came up to me and were like, when's the next podcast episode?
Isn't that great?
And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
I didn't know anyone listened to it. Like, I look at the numbers, I didn't know anyone was listening to it.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate all that is either,
Yeah, that's true. They're not like abysmal. We have like 25 episodes and over 1,000 downloads over like 2,500 downloads between Apple and Spotify. So it's not
great.
Awful.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's tough.
It is.
It's like, I don't want it. I want it to be more than that. I feel like it's good content.
Yeah.
Whatever. It'll either catch on or we'll see what happens after this year, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like you said, like you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Like I'm paying for this. I'm paying for the website. I'm paying for whatever else. Incredible. But I guess it's good to have it just in another place in case something weird happens. I will always have another copy of it somewhere, right?
I wish I did that from the beginning.
Yeah.
I wish I did. Yeah. I don't have that.
Well, yours are somewhere though.
They are. I could pay somebody to actually do the whole route for me and create videos and have it on, because I have somebody that would do that. And that way it would be great content for us to just SEO for just our business to have all that back on YouTube. Just another place for us to have it. But do I want to pay for that?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Actually, Sal, who I had on the podcast, when I was talking to him, whenever he has an issue where he's like, I need to learn more about this, he hires a coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I thought about that before, like for just normal stuff. Yeah.
I have a business coach, and I've had a business coach off and on for years. I did have a social media. He's more of a content, not content creator. He's a videographer. He wasn't really like a coach, so to say, but he offered programs. But he does that. He's more of my husband's friend. But it was like a course, like how do you take your iPhone and create content as a gym owner, and how can you use that? Yeah, and it's just like all done really well in Kajabi or something. You know what I mean? Where you're going through the process of learning, and it was super good. I mean, just great stuff. And he works with a lot of really well-known fitness industry people and martial artists. So it's like his name's, you don't know it, but he's the guy behind the camera. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I always think of going to YouTube.
Yeah.
Or even podcasts or just somewhere and just figuring it out myself.
Yeah.
But I think
I do that for almost everything.
Yeah. I'm almost too busy to do it now. So
it's easier to hire somebody because they tell you exactly what to do.
If only I had money. If only I wasn't working for free right now. That would be a much better option.
Well, who told you to be a PT?
Yeah, my own dumbass.
That's why I dropped out.
Well, it is what it is. We're here now. 2 more years left and only 2 more weeks on this rotation. So
that's fantastic.
Then I'll be back in Mobile, guns blazing, getting my dick blown off every week in class.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
That's wonderful. Dick blown off sound. I mean, I can't imagine it, but I can.
Yeah. Like, it's just going to be awesome. Just imagine that. It being awesome.
Yes.
Whatever can be blown off, it's awesome. Yeah. Everyone loves that. And also, now that we're 6 minutes in, if anyone doesn't know by now, this is Heidi, our WRPF Alabama State Chair.
Mm-hmm.
She also is a gym owner, Core Strength and Performance in Huntsville or
Mm.
Madison, and also coach, podcaster, everything does a lot.
Yeah, I
Does
do.
uh what else, like commentary,
Yeah.
jokes, stand up comedian, mom, wife, jujitsu.
Yeah, I just came back from jujitsu and I just started going on the mats, but I really shouldn't be. My doctor would be like,
No, you
"You're
should
supposed to
not.
wait 4 more months before you get
Post
back on the
ACL tear.
mat." Yeah. I'm 5 months
Or
this
post.
week, actually.
Oh wow. You're. I
Yeah.
mean, take your time. You're almost there.
Yeah, I'm
Don't
not
rush it.
not at all. Like I'm very good about following rules.
Good.
He was okay with me doing what I'm doing, so I can't do a lot because I have a brace on, and luckily the brace limits any. So I'm stuck at 90. It can go
Good.
as I progress, and then
Yeah.
I can't hyperextend. So it's just shy of just extension. So it's if anything were to happen, the brace would save me. So
Good.
I can't even do a lot. So I'm really just kind of doing hand stuff and just being present.
I
But
mean,
yeah, thanks.
no problem. You're welcome. Glad to have you.
Yeah,
We've been talking about this for a while, I feel like,
yeah,
and
we have.
we just are always in the same place somehow. We always end up in the same area. Maybe it's through powerlifting.
Yeah, totally.
Um, Heidi is now our state chair and
Mhm.
main bitch.
That's right.
Like actually, like she's the Alabama State
I don't know if I
powerlifting.
want that title. I'm just going to put that out there. I want to hand it off to somebody else. It's a
Well,
lot of
you
pressure.
you fought for it for a while, and in fact, when Charlie Lyons, the previous state chair for pretty much all the big competitions in town,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
uh, he was trying to leave like in 2019 ish before the shutdowns,
Yeah.
and I remember saying, "Heidi is your girl. She's the one. She deserves it, and she will do great with it." And you
Yeah.
have so far.
Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Very welcome.
It's a big shoes to fill. And like, state chair is one thing. It sounds like a lot more responsibility, but really it's not as much as you would think. Meet
Yeah.
director by far is the more responsible role that I love doing. And I realize that I love making memories, and I like being a part of these sort of events that make memories. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm actually the interim state chair for Georgia too, until we
Oh
get
wow.
somebody over there. Yeah, but really, as a state chair, I just manage the schedule,
Yeah.
help direct people who are, judges or whatever. I kind of help them out. If anybody else needs to level up, that's kind of like what I do. So it's more like management, very similar to kind of what I do at the gym.
I
Um,
mean, you're only as good as the people you hire, so
yeah, that's
management
right.
is not easy either.
No, it is not.
And
And I'm very thankful for all the people that volunteer, like yourself, volunteer your time and your effort, and it's not comparable in pay at all. It's like we all do it because we love powerlifting in one capacity or another.
yeah, for the love of the game.
Yeah, it is.
Like actually, yeah, there's not much in it, and I do think, can you go into a little bit of detail about how much is not in it for
Yeah,
people that like, so people understand that you really have to have the passion for it to be able to
yeah,
give back in some way.
yeah, yeah. I would say uh, if you were wanting to give back, um, and be a part of volunteering and things, you have to have the feeling of, I do want to give back. I see what powerlifting's done for me. That has to be the driver. The driver can never be money because you'll
Yeah,
be solely dissatisfied if it's for money because um, it's not something. It's a volunteer position, and I always went into it as a volunteer position when I started. I was in Texas, and then I went to California for a little bit, and so like you go in it knowing that yeah you're going to spend 8 hours doing something all day that is you could make a lot more money doing somewhere else, but you do
yeah,
it because you enjoy doing it. And if anybody is interested in spotting or loading, like these are the positions that we need: spotters and loaders and judges, and people are just willing to be there and help out. Some of them get paid. Most of them get paid. I can only speak for myself. Other states, other federations, some don't get paid at all. I didn't get paid early on, and I didn't care. You know what I mean? I was like, I know you ain't making money. There's 14 people here. Like,
Yeah.
and I just knew then that of the cost of it. But yeah, I think it's kind of funny because when people do see really big meets, they think, well, there's just, I mean, they must be making so much money. And I'm like, you understand, like renting a location, like Orange Beach Event Center, any kind of event center location is going to cost a lot of money. And that is something, depending on the place, I've had to fork over money first. So we're lucky that Event Center doesn't do that. We get a bill later. But I've
Yeah.
had to periodically, like, all right, we need 1,000 now, we need 2,000 now, we need you know what I mean? Like, where you're paying, so everybody who is registering, that helps us, because now we're paying. But yeah, it's not a moneymaker. You could probably make money if you did it all the time and you had all your meets totally filled up, but that is not always the case, And I think that a big misconception, and this also applies to like gyms, is if you're strong, that you'll be good at running meets. Or if you're strong, you'll be good at coaching. Or if you're strong, you'll be good at owning a gym. Like those
Interesting.
things do not, correlate at all. I think
Right.
I would much rather have the nerd out financial accounting dude who loves to powerlift, but maybe a mediocre lifter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're going to be able to understand the business of powerlifting, which is what makes people happy. Like, nobody gives a shit if you lift a lot. Like, did your meet run on time? Did you have all the information for them? Did they have a good event? Were you listening to them? Did you refund them when it was appropriate? Like these things are what's important. And those are like business acumen things that people forget. So
Yeah.
um, I do see that from time to time. People are like, oh, they can't even bench 300, or, I'm like, bro, that doesn't even matter. Like,
That's weird.
yes,
That's
it
weird
is.
energy.
It is weird energy. And, sometimes
Yeah.
powerlifting got that weird energy, right? Like with a little juiced up and they're like
Yeah.
not thinking very clearly. But yeah, I think I'm always super thankful for everybody who devotes any kind of time. And of course, if any of you listening ever want to help out, you can always contact me on WRPF Alabama, because we're always looking for people to help out, and come with a good attitude. You come kind, and we're not out here. I think that's what separates Alabama. Is like I've been to other states where people are just dicks, um, and we try very hard to be very welcoming, and the staff tries very hard to be understanding, versus just being super dickhead about stuff. Like, I don't like that. You don't got to be that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that's definitely not changed is it's always been a very welcoming environment in Alabama.
Yeah,
You rarely have people that are like dickheads. I'm
yeah,
stronger. I deserve something more than that person. Like
right.
you rarely get that anymore.
Rarely. Yeah,
They still exist, but in Alabama at least, you just don't really see it very often. And a
no,
lot of the strongest people, like in our state, are also the nicest. So
one
it works
hundred
out.
percent. Yeah, for sure. Even with the judging, like sometimes I'll get judges who, um, they're in the position for the wrong reason,
Yeah,
and I know, we all know, it's like, so, and luckily I haven't had anybody who like in Alabama, I'm lucky, but I've worked with
yeah.
people where I'm like, why
I've
are you
had some
even doing
interesting
it?
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, and mostly, I feel like it's always on the women's side, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've definitely seen
judging
some.
wise,
Oh yeah, where, and
like
I don't know if it's an overcorrection, to be very stern, and then it comes off as
maybe
being a dick.
feels
You
like
know what I mean?
crabs though.
Mm,
Feels like somebody's holding someone else down for no reason.
yes.
Sometimes that's what
I
I
could
meant.
totally see that.
But yeah, Alabama goes well, and if people are interested, it's also 9 times out of 10 very smooth,
Yeah.
very well run.
Hmm.
The only time you really have hiccups, it depends on the location.
Yeah.
Like the staff
Wi-Fi.
normally run, yeah. exactly.
Mm,
Technical problems you can't really do anything about.
yeah,
Uh, something gets misplaced or forgotten, or people aren't on time, like stuff you
it
can't do anything
happens.
about. But the
Yeah.
staff normally runs very well. Judges do it very well across the board.
Yeah. Yeah. We're trying to, we want, in the end, this is an event for the lifters. So it needs to
Yeah.
be fun for them. Like they need to have a good time. Doesn't mean that we're going to bend rules for it, but there
Right.
are ways to make people feel more welcomed and not dumb, especially if it's their first time. That happens a lot where they're like already like, oh my gosh, and um, I never want that. But yeah, I would agree 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. All right. If you've made it this far, thanks for listening. This is our quick ad break, ad time for WRPF Alabama, our current sponsor. I'm just going to show you and talk about how to get to information you might want to know. If you're listening, all you have to do, Google WRPF Alabama, go to the website, WRPFalabama.com. You can find all the info you need. They list all of the meets here. I know I've had people in the past ask me, this is simply where I go to look for it and find it. You have a records tab, there's find a meet tab, become a member, so it takes you directly to the memberships. On top of that, we recently had the Club One Classic, and this was a drug tested and non tested event. It was this weekend, August 10th. We had Andrea Armstrong win Best Women's Lifter, and she had a crazy 590 dot score. Pretty insane. That puts her very, very elite in a small category. Um, just incredible. We had some other incredible lifters there, coaches, everybody. It was a really good stage. There was a lot of people that showed up and showed out for that meet. It was only 26 lifters, so to have as big of a crowd as they had, it was very impressive. And that's just all we want for future meets is just everyone to show up and support each other. It's the only way we can get this thing to grow. If you listen further in the podcast, we got some pretty cool events that might be coming up at future competitions. So be on the lookout for those. And yeah, thanks again, WRPF Alabama and Heidi, for sponsoring the podcast. And check them out. Join the Facebook group. Go to the website. Any information you need, you can reach out to us, her, find the website and check it out. Thanks. Peace. And I think it's tough. I was talking with Zach Pounders on here, um, just about ways to make powerlifting a bit more digestible for people.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to be like, oh, you've never done it before or seen it. You should go watch one.
No,
Because you go in,
like
you're like, I don't know what's going on. It's been 7.5 hours. I'm hungry and bored.
yeah.
So I don't know if there's a way to fix that locally, but I know if there is a way, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think the only way would be to remove bench.
You
Nobody
think bench
fucking
is the
wants to watch
issue?
that. Yes.
Oh, I
I
was,
think as a spectator, when you see somebody's face, so on
mhm,
deadlifts and squats, there to me is a dynamic to seeing somebody's eyes and their face. When you can't see their face like that, that changes the whole dynamic, in my opinion.
yeah,
And I feel like if we could somehow make it, even when we caddy it sometimes and we, it's not directly this way, we kind of have it off to the side. Even that is a little bit more entertaining. But yeah, I don't think it's not as dynamic as weightlifting. Weightlifting is way more cool to watch. It's more power, more,
yeah,
like when you watch that, it has a sense of scare to it. I don't know. I don't know. I think that Anna is trying her best with A1,
yeah.
and they're trying their best to make it visually appealing for anybody to watch. And that I think is a very hard thing.
What if we turned bench around and had crotch shots?
Hey.
That might be a way to go.
Pass. I look at way too
Um,
many crotches already.
yeah, that's fair.
I see,
What
how
if,
many butts I've looked at in my life,
yeah,
unfortunately.
and had to, like, it's
Yeah.
part of your job. It's part of your job.
Yes. Yeah, they all look the same after a while. I'm like, oh, there you go. Okay. Yep. There, no underwear. Okay. That right. Like,
Yeah. Okay. Nice. I guess.
yeah.
What if I was talking to Zach about this and I just posted a clip about it today. what if you had someone, you let guest lifters sign up,
Mm-hmm.
or you could pull people out of the crowd during the transitions and let them deadlift
That'd
on
be
the main
interesting.
stage, right?
Yeah. Well, most of the time we don't have a large downtime between
Yeah,
lifts.
it would be
You know that
it would be a bigger competition. Yeah, like state games or something.
I do like when you go to a hockey game and they're popping shirts into the crowds and they're asking questions
Oh
in
wait, that'd be
between.
badass.
Yeah, dude, I'd be
We should
down
see
with
how
that.
much one
Like,
of those guns are.
yes,
The
we'd be
shirt
really
gun.
close. That's the only downside. So you might just be hitting people in the face. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like exactly what the right mentality is.
Yeah,
How do we create it more entertaining for the crowd? So, like, whenever I MC, I try to, like describe what's going on. And
yeah,
because they have no clue, they're just there to watch their son who now likes to lift things, and so it's like, this is why they got a red light, and this is, this and
yeah,
this. And, so trying to emceeing does help that. But yeah, I think if there was some sort of cool way to add more entertainment value, that'd be great. And I don't know
yeah.
what that is. I definitely like that idea.
Okay, I've got more of them.
Let's
with
see.
with Zach, I thought about the the top level like pro meets, and you
Yeah.
could have with them. They have enough people and staff that it makes it a little easier on the downtime.
Hmm.
And you want those guys to have downtime because they're all the guys and
Yep.
girls are doing max world record attempts pretty much every time.
Yeah.
But you would have someone come out like between squat and bench, get the bench set up, and you have someone come out and do like a world record attempt like Julius Maddox, right? He can come out
Ah,
with judges on the platform, so
yeah.
it's still a meet environment.
Yeah.
They can, and I imagine you could still count that as meet lifts and give him actual 3 attempts for a bench, because it might
Yeah.
not be during the flights, but he can just get 2 minutes in between, just like you
Yeah.
normally would,
Yep.
whatever. Um,
That's an interesting way of doing that.
So that's how Strongman does it, like at the Arnold. So when they do their
Mm.
first event, they all come out
Hmm.
and do it. Maybe they'll
Hmm.
do 2 events back to back, but then in between, they'll have like some people come out and try the grip world record or the
Yeah.
like weight over bar world record or the stone
Yeah.
world record
The
in
stone. Yeah.
between events.
Yeah.
So that's how probably what we would have to do. Another easy way you can do it between squat and bench, if you have that 10 or 15-minute break, you could let people come up, pay like $10 and do the combine bench,
That's a good. That's
225 for reps.
yes. Uh huh.
They pay $10. Money goes to the WRPF and the meet.
Yeah.
Maybe the money goes to best lifters, whatever,
Yeah.
however you want to do it. So
Yeah.
like that could be
Listen, I'm going
promo.
to tell Anna that I love these
Yeah,
ideas because at the pro, there's definitely downtime. Um,
there needs to be.
yeah, there
Right.
needs
So
to be
it's
because
like
their
a
flights, the
risk,
way their flights are set up and everything. Yeah.
and it's they're really strong. Like it would be
Yes.
risky if you're like, hey, instead of 10 minutes, we got 2 minutes actually. Come on.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great idea.
so yeah, stuff like that is the only way you would make it an easier way to spectate.
Yeah.
You would have something going on during the downtime on the live streams,
Mm-hmm.
even if you didn't have commentary for that.
Yeah.
You could just do an open mic,
Yeah.
and people are just coming up and hitting reps. The crowd's counting it out, like if
Yeah.
they're doing bench, stuff like
Totally.
that.
Yeah. I love that idea. I'm going to keep that in mind for
I
the
love
next
them.
time. That's your,
We should
yes. Keep them coming.
we should we should do it.
Yeah.
We
I'm
should, we
down for
should do
that.
that.
I love
State
that.
championships. You can
Yeah.
announce it. That way
Yeah.
people know
Well,
beforehand.
so that one be a hard one. Well, let's see, because it was a lot of people. I might make it 2 days.
Hmm.
We've already been talking about making it 2 days. I've also been talking about making it part of Southeast Regionals. So it's a combination of both.
Cool.
But I don't know if I want to do that. We talked about doing that this year. But the nice thing is now there's two separate meets, right? Like if we have regionals
Right.
and Alabama State games, but we're trying to get the Met in Birmingham. I think it's called the Met.
You
So
talking about for the
looking at,
state games? You
yeah,
doing
for
that
the state
again?
games.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, I got
Yeah.
you.
But yeah, that would be one where if we had, let's say 120 lifters instead of 80, we would split it up to 2 days. We could have, smaller flights and then have some breaks
Hmm.
in between. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So maybe I'll talk to Ronald about it because the Mavericks only 40 lifters.
Yeah.
That might be a good way to, and that'll be a
Yeah.
bunch of actual lifters that go to that meet because of
Yep.
where it's at. That might be a
Yeah.
good debut
I'll
for
make
something like that.
Jawan. I'll tell
Yeah,
Jawan to get on
Juwan.
there.
Yeah.
Come on, just
He,
work your normal deadlift day.
yeah, yeah.
Your
Or yeah.
training day is going to max
Yeah,
out
yeah.
everybody's.
Come out McDonald's in between. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he
Yeah.
stopped smoking, but yeah, I can imagine him eating some McDonald's and just like and then pulling 800 or something.
Yep. Smoking reds in between.
Yeah.
Psychopath.
I'm too old for that.
And he's too old for that.
He is. Yeah, he's
He's
getting old too.
still.
Not can't tell, but he is.
No, you can't tell. Black don't crack. And then
No,
he's
so
number 2 in the
strong.
world, technically.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't see it going down now. I see it going
No,
up.
it only looks like it is. You got
Yeah.
him and what, Andrea, she's
Armstrong?
like, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
She
Oh
is
yeah.
she number
I don't know
she's
if
like
she's
number 2 or
ranked.
3 right now.
Yeah. She's going to compete at Club One, which is in 3 weeks. Um, but yeah, I mean, after the Arnold, she was ranked really high. And you know, it's
Yeah,
funny. She did her first meet at Core Wars.
I was
She
there.
hasn't been lifting that long. You know what I mean?
Nope.
But just a skilled lifter and puts in the time, which is
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You can definitely tell.
yeah, yeah. I wish I'd
She
track
takes
like
it serious. Right,
yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah. She's more jacked than most of the guys that are lifting.
yes.
So,
She's
including me.
proud of it.
Good times. Let's see. So yeah, what new plans for WRPF Alabama are there?
Yeah,
Anything
so
cool coming up?
one of the big changes that's going to happen, and I think a lot of people in Alabama kind of knew, is that Charlie wants to step down as a meet director. And right
Right.
now, he and I are the only meet directors. And the biggest change with that is that I'm limited on how many meets I can do. I'm also limited on my equipment. Charlie's equipment, more than likely, he's going to sell the whole lot. So he's got a lot of
Hmm.
equipment. We're planning on expanding my business next year. So in all reality, I can't pay for a trailer full of equipment. So if anybody is interested, I'm helping him, find somebody as well. But more than likely, he's going to sell it, and he's going to sell it to somebody who's just going to take the whole thing, and they're going to run their own meets, and it's probably not going to be in Alabama. So what that means, for example, that's why we only have 40 lifters at Mavericks, because I'm going to bring all the stuff I need for the platform, and they're going to bring everything for the warm up. So the warm up
I
is
see.
going to be, so moving forward, unfortunately, until I'm able to give more equipment wise. Platform's going to be always spectacular. All the bars, everything. Texas, we love Texas. I'll probably never have a kabuki bar. So if anybody's wondering, I'll probably never have a kabuki bar on the platform. Again, no knock to kabuki. I really like kabuki. I just don't. I don't like the kabuki bar because being at things like the American Pro, where I've seen the largest lifters in the world lift, and having lengthy conversations with somebody like Garrett Fear about when you should pull the slack out, or when, after 5 reds, you need to make sure that you're not X, Y, and Z. To me, their equipment shouldn't be that technical for a deadlift bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a suit. You're not trying to bench in a suit. It's not something that should be, I should change my whole technique for that. And frankly, not everybody's training on a kabuki bar. So for us, platform will always be Texas stuff. So it's all the great equipment. But yeah, the only way I'll be able to hold meets is if the location is able to have a warm up room area. And that might not always be kilos anymore. So it might be kilos, might be pounds. And we'll tell that to people. Like if it is, if it's going to be pounds, you'll know in the commentary in the registration, if it's going to be that. But yeah, I think the biggest change next year is we're only going to have a handful of meets. So maybe 5 or 6 meets next year. So, I think it's good because we need to fill them up. And as I start to fill up, then we'll add more in there. But the reality is like, I got a real job. I got a job where I can't, peace out all the time like that. Not that Charlie didn't. I mean, he has 2 jobs for God's sakes, but,
Right.
and that's why he can't do it anymore. He really is.
Yeah.
He's just being pulled so much. And it's been a long time. I think when we were talking about it at Southeast Regionals, he had directed, it was 180 something meets. It was something like outrageous. I was like, he's like, not even the ones that I co-directed or judged. He's like, just the ones that I directed. I'm like, that's
It's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, that is
Yeah,
crazy. He's been
crazy.
doing it forever. He's the one of the sole reasons that it got brought to Alabama.
Yeah,
Like he was directing when it was APA, which most people these days don't even know what that is.
yeah, yeah. And he's younger than me. When I think about that, I'm like, he's such an old soul. Like, how
He
are you
is an
younger
old
than me?
soul.
He is an old soul.
Well, he
He'll call,
started
he don't
late
text.
too.
Yes,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You know, like I'm like Charlie. It just makes me laugh. I always give him a hard time for it. I'm like, how you so old, man? I'm like, are you sure you're a millennial? I don't
He's
know.
lived multiple lifetimes. That one.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's
he's
going to be the biggest changes. So next
good.
year, and once everything is kind of finalized with Charlie, and we know for sure his equipment and all that, like I'll have to be very particular with what meets they are. And for sure we're going to have the state games that's already in there. So everybody knows June timeframe. We'll definitely have the state games. Regionals is a bidding. So how we normally do is we have to write a letter saying why we should be the ones to host regionals. So this is where it might be something we might not host because Charlie might not have his equipment, right? So whoever buys his equipment,
Right.
it might be something that I can work a deal with them, and they come and really they just provide the equipment. And that's kind of like how he and I are now. So we co-direct together. He brings all the equipment, does all the stuff, and I just handle all the back end stuff. So I take care of all the management, which that's the shitty part, but that's what I
Yeah.
do normally. So it's like it works out great because he just shows up, make sure everything is good, and it's good, like. And for me, I don't want to worry about that because I don't want to worry about that and that, So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, as far as our schedule goes, it'll be spaced out, so we'll have some here and there, but determining the gym will be determined on if they can provide a warm up area, at least for the next year.
I think that's fine. I don't know. I've heard people complain about pound plates in the past, but like,
Yeah,
just get over it. It is what it
yeah, I
is.
think you've been. I mean, to have kilos in the warm up all the time and not like I could see at regionals, like okay, a regional event or a higher level event, I can see you should have kilos in the back.
Agreed.
But at a state level, I mean, I never did for
Yeah, I
years.
was about to say we never did,
No,
and I mean,
years.
shit. I just went to the Alabama Powerlifting Hall of Fame meet that
Oh
was
yeah,
done by APA, and they used pound plates on the platform. So like,
yeah, and you can. It's
and
totally okay too.
not a
Yeah.
single person complained.
No, right? Because it's like this is where and I hope I don't butt hurt anybody here with these comments, but when we say like, oh, it's war, we get the powerlifting has a lot of these catchphrases like, oh, it's war, we're going into, and there's all this like, but then they're gonna complain that there wasn't AC or oh, that bar was a little off, or you know what I mean? I'm like, bro, you gotta be a flexible lifter. Like, come on, like you can't be complaining about little shit like that. Like, so that's just
No,
my 2 cents.
yeah, no, they're also prima donnas. They're
Yeah,
going to
I
war,
started I
but
started
it has
lifting
to be
in
perfect.
2012. Like I started powerlifting in 2012. 2011 was when I started. 2012 is when I did my first like off the shoot meet, like wasn't even a federation. And I was lucky to even have a bar at this gym. Like
Yeah,
I was
right.
like
Yeah.
it was a shitty ass little bar. So I remember when I first deadlifted with a deadlift bar, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool."
Yeah. I remember at Strong Inc for a while we did have two squat bars, but one of them was like completely bent.
Oh,
For one, how does someone bend a squat bar?
oh,
But
jerk.
two, I mean that's just what we had to use, and it kind of felt
Uh-huh.
better. It
Yeah.
was like a
Yeah.
mini Duffalo bar.
Yeah. I was like, huh.
Felt good on the shoulders.
Somebody dropped that in the cage is what it is, and it
Yeah, I'm
probably
pretty sure
couldn't handle. It was
someone
probably like
dropped. Yeah,
800 pounds or something, and they dropped it in the cage, and it just went.
yeah. I think somebody dropped it
Oh yeah,
on the mono lift he had.
jerk.
Speaking of mono, are we not the disease but the lift? Are we gonna have one at any of our meets in Alabama?
Not
Some
unless
people have been
because we got to
asking
be
for
able
it.
to have one on the platform and one in the warm up. That's the problem. So if we're able to have those two, which possibly I've actually been talking to somebody about a gym that might have both. So I would be down with that. But because we don't have both, Charlie had one.
Yeah,
And then he had one at Strong Inc. So he had two, but he sold one. So yeah, not unless I can get somebody to bring it. And I know people have asked, and I get it. But I just don't have that capability, and that's just
fair,
the unfortunate part. Yeah,
fair. Sounds like we just need someone else to be another meet director in the state.
yeah, somebody else to be
Honestly,
the bring on the. It's a lot of money, you think about
yeah,
um, kilo plates and a combo rack. You're talking about tens of thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
and it's not cheap. And in order for you to make your money back, let's say you buy Charlie stuff, right? Like you can hold the meat with Charlie stuff. You got to be able to make your money back. And if you do a bunch of meats in one year, maybe you'll make your money back. But more than likely, it'll take 2 years to make your money back. So it's an investment, and people have to think about that.
Yeah.
But anybody who would do that here, like we would help them with that, because there has been people that have approached saying like, maybe, yeah, I would buy Charlie stuff. I want to be a meat director, and like, dude, I would totally succession plan you to be a meat director, and I will help you out. Like I'll help you on the
Yeah.
computer. I'll help you, because in the end, I feel an obligation to keep it going. Because if I don't, who's going to do it?
Yeah.
There's nobody else, and there's no USAPL. USPA is not a standard here. APA is whatever. SPF is like dwindling. There really
Hmm.
is um, nobody else that could really do it, and I think do it well. And so for me, like I want to be able to build a team of people who are willing to do that, and I will make sure that they succeed and they are able to be successful with it. And like that's a big thing. So if there's anybody out there who wants to take that step, you let me know.
I know the guys at Sip It and Rip It. They
Oh,
were interested.
where's
Um,
that? Who are they?
Zach and Nathan.
Oh yeah, yeah. I spoke to Zach
Yeah.
actually.
The the Coleman Barbell guys.
Yes, I actually spoke to Zach. I would love if
Good.
Zach would take it over.
Yeah. I talked to him at regionals because Charlie, he's talking about
Yeah,
getting rid of his stuff and all that. And I was like, Zach, don't y'all want to get more involved?
yeah.
He was like,
Thank you.
absolutely. What do I got to do? Yeah. So I think they might come through, but they're still, they're on your neck of the woods. They're in your
Yeah,
side. So
yeah.
we still need somebody in the South. And I don't know if there's anyone.
I think if anybody were to take it over, there's an opportunity for, if you're willing to drive, right? Like if you're willing to
Yeah,
drive
that's
down,
true.
nobody's in Auburn. We need actually to go to Mississippi. I've already spoke to gym owners in Mississippi. I won't make that drive. Like it's like,
Yeah.
Alex who owns Ghosts, right?
Hmm.
Alex, who's part of WRPF as well. He only wants to hold meets at his gym, and I get it. Like you want to hold ghost meets. Like I get that. He does
Yeah.
not want to go to the panhandle. He does not want to go south anymore. He's like, I just want to be here. And I get that. But if somebody was willing to take the opportunity to do this, I mean, they could really do well, because there is a demand outside of where we've kind of made this line, and there's ways that we can branch out. And I would
Yeah.
help people with that. But yeah, I just can't I can't do that. So it's like,
Right.
I'm just not able.
There was a guy and his wife that did all that for us, but they burned all their bridges all at once,
Yeah.
and now they can't. So
Yeah.
we got to find somebody new that hopefully isn't an asshole.
Yeah. I think Zach has a good demeanor too, and I've only
Yeah, I
heard
think they're.
wonderful things about Zach. But somebody
Yeah, I
like
think.
that is definitely, if you're willing to learn, because now you also have to be a judge, right? So you have to learn how to be a judge, and then you also have to work with the people who now probably have 5 years seniority on you,
Yeah.
um, and you have to be okay with that. I think that's one thing. Like you're going to be coming in as a meet director, but you also have to learn a ton. So there is a bit more that they have to do. So anybody who takes that on, I think it takes a big person to do that.
Yeah, it's a learning curve for sure, but it's not anything that would crush someone
No,
unless
not
they
at all.
come out and the first meet that they host is 12 hours long and then everyone hates
No,
their
and I would
butts.
never allow that, right? Like, so for
Right. Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
I am really
Exactly.
training somebody to, okay, this is what I would do next. This is what, let's talk about what you're going to do next. Okay. This is
Good.
where I would do this, right? Like we're 4 weeks out. What are you thinking about? These are things. And there is a template, like a plan for meet directors. So there is something that they go off of, but to me, a lot of it is more like this, like I learned a lot from Charlie and Ashley, just like being there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody's interested.
I'm sure there is interest. Maybe people just don't know the opportunities there.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
not like we're like, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, it's not a
we
big
pass the word
advertisement.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. Word of mouth.
Yeah. And people could be holding USAPL meets too, because with WRPF, you can actually cross both. So there is an opportunity to hold different types of meets should you want to be meet director for them too.
Right.
Um, so yeah, there's a way to make it your career if you wanted to.
Yeah, you might not make a lot of money off of one hosting one meet a year. But if you
Right.
made it your prerogative and
Yes.
had good like planning skills
Yeah.
and organization, it would work out. You can make good money
100%.
doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you could
But
hold one down south, one up, one in Mississippi. You know what I mean? Like there. I mean,
yes,
you could definitely make it work.
good. That's good stuff. Speaking of make it work, you're expanding your business,
Yeah.
which
Well, it's like 99% sure we're gonna do it, but
good.
we're not 100% just yet. But
I
yeah,
hope you do.
we want to have jujitsu, so we actually want to have martial arts.
The addiction is real.
Yeah, well, it's funny because my husband's been doing jujitsu for a long time. My kids
Yeah,
have too, and I was the last one. I was like, I powerlift. I don't need to be getting hurt. I'm like, no, no, no. And
immediately
then
gets hurt.
yeah, immediately breaks my arm. First 3 months, broke my arm, and then breaks the knee. Oh yeah, breaks my ACL the year later. Tears ACL,
Yeah,
MCL, meniscal tear.
not the terrible triad.
Yeah, right. Um, but yeah, so I think if we weren't doing any martial arts, I wouldn't have expanded. The way my business runs is I guess for lack of a better word, we're like a boutique gym, right? So we're
Yeah,
small. Our clientele is all class based, so it's not an access only gym. You can't just show up and work out. It's a private gym, so you got to be a member at our gym, and the members take classes. They learn how to lift and things like that. So that's the way uh, our our gym runs. And so we're going to take that and we're going to expand it. So we're going to have multiple classes. It's a 6 people or less class, so it's a semi private. Well, it's fully private, but it's small group instead of large group.
yeah,
So we're going to have a couple small group, and then we'll have jujitsu. Our buddy is a black belt in several different martial arts, and he just retired out of the military. So that might be something that might happen for us. But yeah,
nice.
we're still in the planning stages of doing that, which is really exciting because we've been at this
Yeah,
location. We've been open for 7 years now, and we've been doing good. Like we don't have a big overhead. We don't live out of our means. My husband and I can both work in the business. I don't have to have another job,
that's
to
awesome.
yeah, and it wasn't like that in the beginning. In the beginning, I had to, because he was our main coach and I did the business part. I was still coaching, but in reality, it would be better if he stayed in the business and I went back to a 9 to 5, which
Right.
sucked balls. And like the business was cool. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't them,
Yeah.
but I realized I do not ever want to work for somebody again. Like I was a personal trainer for so many years, went back to marketing, and then said, I can't stand this. And then in 2019, December of 2019, I quit. And then January 2020, COVID hits.
Yeah.
And I
Fuck
was like,
yeah.
oh, holy
Fuck yes.
shit. But have not went back. Business tripled when I went, back, and I was able to devote a lot more. Yeah, and it's doing good now. So we're always in a plus, which feels good,
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, because entrepreneurship is not an easy thing. Being a small
No,
business
it's
owner.
awful.
Yes.
It's the best worst thing you can do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I would love
It,
to have a PT though, like at our spot. Have a little
I think
and
that's a
work.
fucking great idea,
Oh, I'd love it. I've been trying
personally.
to get one of my friends to just like, hey, dude, just all you need is this little small room. Like, listen, I send
Yep.
my people to you already, so it's like you set up there and we're
That's
good.
that's what I would want to do. 1000%. I would. It's similar to you, or maybe not similar, but I grew up in small business.
Mm,
So like my mom owned small businesses in
mm,
Birmingham, and I have always worked there in the summertime when I was in high school. Like literally been working since I was like 15 or 14 in a
well,
business, right? And I've seen kind of the ups and downs, the highs and lows, what it takes to make it work,
yeah,
and how rewarding it is when you're the reason you're successful.
yeah.
And also how bad it is when you're the reason that you're down this year, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
and then you're like sweating bullets
Oh, yeah.
come January, where
Ugh,
it's going to be for most businesses the slowest time of the year. For you guys, is probably the busiest time, but still,
yeah.
be the opposite. Summertime rolls around and you're sweating bullets sometimes. But
Yeah.
I've actually been to y'all's gym, and I
Yeah.
didn't have a small group class, and it was awesome. But
Wait, you didn't come to our gym. You went to the other gym, right? The gym I hosted the meet at.
no,
Did you come to
came
my
to your
gym?
gym. Yeah, late night,
When?
late night one
Oh,
time.
that's right.
Uh huh.
That's
Let me
right.
sneak
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
and
right.
it's a small
Yeah. For you,
location.
it's it's for you. It's
I
different.
know. I almost said that as you were saying it's a
Yeah.
private small group gym,
Yeah. Unless you're
unless
my
you're
friend,
me. Yeah,
because
right.
it's my
And
business. I can do what I want.
I was talking to Sal. Sal, he has that Watchdog Strength, and he does the same
Uh-huh.
thing. His
Okay, he does.
his is a small private gym,
Okay.
4 people in the group
Yep.
with one coach,
Yep.
so it's 4-on-1.
Yep.
And his is more of a CrossFit build.
That would be similar to what I would say
Right, yeah. So
to
like
help people
he
kind of
has
wrap their mind around how it is.
and his is like they have the cage, like the box
Yeah.
style cage where it's
Yeah.
just 4 squat racks that they can
Yep.
roll benches under.
Yeah.
And they do the same thing. Like one coach keeps his eyes on all 4 or her
Yep.
eyes on all 4.
Yep.
They do, hit class once
Yep.
a week, strength
Hmm.
once a week, whatever. That's how they
Yeah.
kind of plan it out.
Yeah. So we don't, because of our space, we can't have any kind of metabolic class or anything because we only have so many class times. And
Right.
our bread and butter is our strength. So even though the design of the gym is CrossFit in that sense, right? So like group setting and things like that. The programming is nowhere, like no CrossFit
Yeah.
whatsoever, right? So programming is all strength based, progressive overload, kind of your basic for Gen Pop. So we do a lot of things that would be different for powerlifting,
Right.
um, just because these people have to feel good. I got a ton of engineers. Most of my clientele are 40 and over professionals. I would say 75% are women. I just had 2 moms of other members come on this month. So
Nice.
that means a lot when it's like the mother is 68 and she's never touched a weight in her life, and,
Yep.
and now they trust us to do something because they know that we will not push them too hard. Um, as they have to take care of their grandchild the next day.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's I think so. I think when he was the first part of his the podcast, he had said, yeah, I quit a job making 6 figures to and barely working like 5 hours or something to
Yeah.
working all the freaking time and making a third pay cut.
Yep. The American dream, baby.
Yes, yes. What are you doing?
But I mean,
Oh,
like he said too, but passion outweighs a lot of that. When you're passionate about something, it
yeah,
means more to you. Your time is worth more, and you
yeah,
feel like you're investing it in not only a business but
yeah.
yourself, which
Yeah, I,
it
I
means a
think
lot
for
to most
me,
people.
I think a lot of for me, where I feel fulfilled, uh, and my drive comes from knowing that I'm creating something more and I'm helping others. So somehow I'm
Yeah.
in service of others. I think that's why I gravitated towards volunteering and powerlifting because I'm in service of others. Like I found for me, that's very rewarding. So in the gym, helping regular people so rewarding. Like I don't even train. I used to do bodybuilders for years because I was in bodybuilding, and I was just like, dude, I don't want to talk about your like ounces of chicken anymore, or I'm just done. Like it seems so petty to me. And I was like, and I get it. I loved powerlifting. I still love the sport of powerlifting, but as a coach, I did not find it rewarding anymore. Um, and so, like, yeah, for me, it does outweigh it. I'd rather spend more hours committing to this that maybe something my kids will be able to take in one day. I have a little one who is very committed to being like, I'm going to take the gym one day. And so who knows. But I do know that, like, I love this job and I'm willing to do this because it does make me feel like I'm giving back somehow. Whereas my other
Yeah.
job, yeah, I was cool. Um, I was helping a business grow their business, but it's like, this just not me. Like I'm a driven person, so I wanted to grow my business.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and it's funny though. You do work a ton of just weird hours. Just being in fitness in general is just weird
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Your like busiest days when you're a online coach is Sunday.
Yeah, right. You're all the programming, all
It's
that,
like you
and I
get
do mine on
everything
like
on.
a Thursday or Friday because I don't want to do it on a Sunday. I just like my weekends because I have a regular business, like if I think if it was
Yes.
just online, it might be different, but yeah, I don't like shoving it all on a Sunday. My Sunday, I don't do nothing. Like, don't take any business calls. I don't talk to anybody. If you text me about business, guess what? I'm answering you on Monday because you already know my office hours are from here to here and there to there.
D&D, do not disturb.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. I
I
always have it on.
I yeah, I agree, and just all those points.
Yeah.
Working for yourself or giving back to other people the way you want to
Yeah.
is like more significant than working for someone else and
Yeah.
just working a job to make money.
Yeah. I
Um,
yeah, completely agree.
and I think coaching in general does that for a lot of people. That's how I feel about
Yeah.
it, and I can see the appeal of Gen Pop over powerlifters. For one, it's very nice to get someone that has low to no expectations. They're like, I don't know what it means to add weight to a bar, so what do we do?
Yeah.
And to have that and see just skyrocketing, you get to actually do linear progression with those people.
Yeah.
Like they
And it works.
skyrocket at first, yeah,
Yeah.
and they progress so fast. That's kind of what I like about PT as well.
Yeah.
And with beginners, you can really distract them in a way that they don't even know they're working hard. Like they can almost lift while they're telling you about their week
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and do it just fine and get strong.
I do
Whereas
like
you,
the community aspect of having a gym versus like online. Um,
oh yeah, yeah, for
I
sure,
find that very rewarding because outside of that, I really don't have outside of powerlifting too. Like those are my main sources of like interaction, and
yes,
I feel like what we've built at our gym, people value that, and it's helped their lives. Just interacting on a weekly basis, 3 times a week. And that's built a lot of confidence for a lot of people who don't normally interact with other people. It's kind of funny. Like there's a lot of people who
yeah,
don't interact. It's interesting.
yeah, like cubicle
Yeah.
professionals, yeah,
Or just work
yep.
from home.
Oh yeah, the old Waffle House WFH. That's what I thought. Someone texted me one time like, no, I'm WFH today, and I was like, why are you at Waffle House at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday? What are you talking about? So yeah, I always just go to that. Um,
Funny.
but anyways, yeah, you have for one, you have the community factor in that it's your gym,
Yeah.
and you get to have your influence on it, and then two,
Hmm.
you also do small group classes, which is even more of a community factor.
Yeah.
People are going to want to come with the same people they go with every week.
Yeah.
They probably don't want to mix it up too much with other classes,
Yeah.
probably just due to time, but also
Yeah.
because they get into a routine. They
Yeah.
know this person's coming then. They want to be with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Totally.
feels like a buddy system.
It does. It is. It really is. And they're like, why is so and so not here? Like
Yeah,
they're on vacation.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Um, how did you, since it's a private gym, you don't necessarily charge, I mean, you do charge a membership, but it's
Hmm.
built differently. How did you
Yeah.
come up with your price point for charging for that since it's small group classes and not just come
Yeah.
whenever?
Yeah. In the beginning, I had no freaking clue, even though I had a coach. And I think part of it in the beginning was like, okay, what do we need to charge in order to maintain this location, right? Like
Always
to
a
run
good
the
choice.
business, right? So it's like you're working backwards versus like
Yeah.
arbitrarily picking a number, right? So we said, all right, if we charged 150, let's say, we charge more than that now, but if we charge 150 and we get 10 members by this time, expenses and all this, so it was a lot of it trying to work backwards. And because we're not from Alabama, we just moved here. We didn't know anybody. So that's a
Mm.
hard thing. I think if you're from the
Yep.
area, you are going to have a lot of community people who are going to rally behind you and support your business. But nobody knew us, And so I was like, I'm going to touch base with the local powerlifting meet, and that's when I was immediately messaging Charlie before we moved. Just to establish like something here. So yeah, I think in the beginning I kind of looked at the average what was around, and then I said, well, if we did charge this, and even though I had been a coach for many years, I mean, I've been a personal trainer since 2012, and my rates for that were different because for a class is different, so
Yep.
um we just chose some number that we felt was right, and then we locked people in the beginning. We're like, this will be your price till the end, and we actually have a few people who are founders, and they still have the same price since then, even though our prices have gone up. But as the years have gone up, yes, we've raised our prices because everything expenses has gone up. Our experience as coaches has gone up. What we offer is better, I feel. So the quality of service people get is going to be better. And I understand not everybody can afford it. And really, the people who come to us have a little bit of expendable income and are willing to pay for coaching, because really that's what they're getting is a lot of very experienced coaching. Where we work with a lot of injured people, and it helps that me and Devin are always fucking injured because we've had so many workarounds. Like, we just had somebody who had 2 ACL surgeries in 2 years. So she and I were having poor thing. But yeah, I know, felt bad for, she slipped both times. It's like, oh gosh. But people know when they come that they're gonna get that type of quality service. They might not know immediately, but when they start the class, we let them try a class so they can. And I don't use a lot of the traditional tactics in marketing and sales. Like, if somebody were like, yeah, I want to sign up now, or like, let me think about it. Most traditional coaches would be like, no, you close that deal now, right then, close it now. And we don't do that. I'm like,
Yeah.
great, you think about it, I'll text you in the morning, see how you're feeling, and then we kind of go from there. And that's worked for us, surprisingly, contrary to all the gurus. It's worked pretty good for us, and people trust us, that we're not going to try to like pull a fast one.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's, so now our pricing is different. We offer different things, but we're still 6 people or less in our classes.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I like in there for sure. I do think talking more with other coaches,
Mm-hmm.
it's more, the price point is, for you it's different because you have a location, but
Mm.
on top of saying, okay, this is what we need to charge per person to make it worth it for our gym to stay open, on top of that you also think like, what do I value myself at? Because that's what you're giving them.
Yep.
You and Devin are giving them yourself. You're not giving them a program.
Yep.
They're getting a program, but it's coming from you.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you value your knowledge, your experience, and your attention to detail at?
Yeah.
I think, and I don't charge enough for what I do, but I think it's just something that a lot of people lack, is like saying, what exactly am I worth?
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
people don't pay for it, it's not right for them.
I agree. Yeah,
It
and then
doesn't
that's okay.
necessarily mean your price is high.
Yeah, I agree. And
Exactly. It is
like,
okay.
we are constantly doing education. So like, my husband just finished a whole he's finishing up a psychology course, but
Nice.
all of it is different courses just to help our members. I just finished a pregnancy course, so more in-depth stuff to work with women during pregnancy. So for us, we invest in ourselves and our knowledge so that we can give back to our members, right? So that at least our
Good.
knowledge is as high as it can possibly be within the realm of what we can do. And that's important. We're continually working on educating ourselves to what's the best way to train somebody, what's the most effective way, like, because things change. I mean, my husband's so into the psychology thing right now that like people are like, oh, what's going on? Like, because he gets deep with it. And they're like, I just came to live, but now I'm
Yeah.
crying and I feel so much
Therapy
better.
session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
That's how I feel sometimes in the clinic right now. But
I bet.
yeah, then on top of that, you have the community aspect that people get to reach into, which has its own price as well.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get that at a normal gym.
No, you don't.
You might have some people you talk to or friends with that come in
Yeah.
around the same time, but it's not like a group effort.
No, no, and not unless you got a powerlifting team. Like, that's
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you got your little community. But no, access only gyms, that's what they lack. And that's why they have a lot high turnaround, high
Hmm.
churn rates. It's like, we don't have that. We're very, very lucky. And, some of the questions that were for business, some of our numbers are really good because we have a high retention. We keep the people a long time. So like,
Yep.
their length of engage, like, we keep them at least 15 months, which is it's higher than the industry standard.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have people who who've been with us for 7 years. They were our very first member. We have Denise, who is still, I mean, she started powerlifting 4 years later. But she was
Yeah.
just trying to get out of pain. Like she was in pain all the time, so she couldn't even plank without pain. And now she's like, pulling 275 at 60 years old. It's like pretty
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think people, you hold on to people longer because if they're at a normal gym, they can go down the street to Crunch and pay
Yeah.
$10 and
Yeah.
get that same experience.
Yeah.
And it possibly could be better because there's more people there for them to talk to.
Right.
Right? I mean, than a grungy, dirty ass powerlifting gym.
100%. Yeah.
So
And I would
that's
say
why
like
people
our
stay.
gym's a little nicer too, so that's another
Yeah,
like
it
plus because
is.
it's got AC. It's nicer than your
What's
standard.
that like?
Yeah, right. Like you, I feel like you're gonna pass out every time I see your videos.
Yeah, it's a little sweaty down there, but that's okay.
Jeez.
The people that go love that. Well,
Yeah,
most of the people that go love that.
exactly. It's like the people who are willing to pay a price, they're willing to pay that price. It's the same thing.
Yeah. You just gotta find them, and they're
Yeah,
out there in
yeah,
any market. There are people.
yep,
It's just how many of them can you convince to try it?
yeah. That's what it is. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think one of the questions had asked, what, how many leads do I get a month for online leads? I don't get as many, and I haven't really been pushing a lot of our online stuff as much. I've been separating it as a business for myself. But leads in general to my gym, I don't get a ton. I would say maybe I get 15 a month. I don't do any advertising. I stopped advertising maybe 4 years ago. So
Oh
all of the
wow.
people that come to our gym are our biggest is our referrals. So I don't even really have a real referral plan. I mean, I did, but not really. Like
Yeah.
right now we're going to have where we give 50, you get 50 kind of thing. So like if somebody comes, they get 50 off their first month. But yeah, most of the time it's people referring their friends and family. It's kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. But on average, if I get about 15 leads, they're somewhat hot leads because now they've asked for pricing from my website. I'll maybe get 30% of those who are actually wanting to talk to me or wanting to come to a class. And then from there, once they try a class, I think our rate right now is like 83% of them sign up. So it's like once they try, they normally are okay with it because they've already talked to them on the phone. I've already talked to them about the pricing, their expectation. They know what's going to be happening. So for them, it's already like they're like almost convinced, like they're like, okay, now I just need to see if I like it. Like I like that environment.
Yeah. I think that's wild. 83%
Yeah,
is a
it is
pretty
because
insane
but we don't
number.
have yeah, but when you think about like it's not a ton for leads and things like that, but when they do come through, it works out great. So if they're
Yeah,
willing
they
to take that
stay.
first step, yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot of that, which is nice. If you could do anything to the sport with an unlimited budget, what would you add? And
Oh
then
God.
why are you so awesome?
Unlimited
Uh,
budget.
okay, so if I could do anything with the sport with an unlimited budget, I would hold a real event. Like my goal would be to one day have a strength event. So it'd be a strength expo. So it would have CrossFit,
Uh,
it would have some martial arts, it would have powerlifting, and it would have strongman and Highland if I could get something like that. I would love to be able to hold something like that. But you got to have money for that. And I know because I hold a very big event in California. It's Polynesian dancing. And you got to have a certain amount of income already. So it's like, I got to be able to have 20 grand on hand to just be able to pay things up front as we go. But I would
Interesting.
love to be able, yes, I would love to be able to hold something like that. If I had unlimited, I mean, I can't even put that into words. I don't even know what I would do. I would have a huge ass screen and there'd be multiple screens. Like, and I would
Yeah.
hire all the teams with all the media coverage. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be great.
I actually have been to one of those expos in Atlanta.
Oh,
I
nice.
I don't know if they do it every year, but I went in 2018 or 19 probably.
Yeah.
They had all of that and more.
Yeah. I went to the Fit Expo in California before.
Uh-huh.
And it was good.
That and that one's been going on forever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so the one I went to in Atlanta had powerlifting,
Hmm.
weightlifting. Wait,
Hmm.
It did not have weightlifting. Powerlifting, strongman, Highland Games, bodybuilding.
Okay. Yeah.
They had a bodybuilding stage in the middle, and it was an expo of like,
Vendors.
equipment, local vendors. Yes.
Yeah.
Then there was a CrossFit side, a kettlebell competition,
Oh, I love it.
like the
I love
kettlebell flipping,
kettlebell. Mm-hmm.
martial arts.
Did they have like boxing?
No boxing, but they had like actual martial arts.
I love it.
Jiu-jitsu, judo, karate, all that
Love
was
it.
going on at the
Oh, I
same
love it.
time. And this wasn't that big of a venue. It was a
Oh.
it was a civic center of some sort, but it was not that big. Like you could see powerlifting and bodybuilding at the same time.
Okay, so I like that where you can walk around and you're almost like going
That's
through
what
Disneyland where you're like seeing different
exactly
like things.
exactly what it was. So like all
Yeah.
the events were kind of on the outside, vendors in the
Yes.
middle, and
Yes.
as you went, you'd see everything. And then on top of that, they also had arm wrestling,
Oh, that's awesome.
like actual arm wrestling competition, and the weirdest one, surprisingly, wrestling,
Hmm.
WWE style wrestling. Yes. So I do feel like this is doable because it wasn't like I think it was a USPA meet, and it wasn't like a big. I didn't even know how I found out about it. Like I
You just
literally
happen to be
just
there.
loaded up some of my friends. I was like, "Hey, there's this strength expo thing. You want to go?" And we just went. And you
I love
got
it.
Danny Webster in Tuscaloosa. Do you know Danny?
No.
Okay, Danny is a sheriff in Northport, I think.
Okay.
Or no, he's a sergeant in Northport. Either way, he's a cop, and he's also the Highland Games guy right now. He hosts
Oh.
big Highland Games competitions for money. So like he's hosting a big one that's like payouts.
Okay.
He also runs the like open powerlifting style website and keeps track of all the Highland Game records.
Oh my
And he's
gosh.
pretty fresh to it. He's like maybe less than 5 years in doing it,
Wow.
like hosting, anyways. So you got him who has pull, so he can get pretty much anybody at this point to his. Like he's known for having good competitions.
I see you're connecting me already.
And you have Chris Slater in Mobile. Or Gulf Shores, I guess, Foley. He's the strongman guy. He
Okay.
hosts Alabama's Strongest Man every year
Oh, okay.
in Gulf Shores in August.
Okay.
Arm wrestling, I don't know anyone. Bodybuilding, Tuscaloosa has Ron Wedgeworth,
I know some bodybuilding people out here,
and
but I
and
would
yeah,
know.
there's some in Huntsville too, and in
Hmm.
Gadsden. Whoever runs
Hmm.
that show, we're making the connections. I think we
We
can
are.
make this happen.
Now you just want to give me $30,000 so that I can have enough.
Here's the thing: all we need to do is do a GoFundMe
Oh yeah.
and then toss that out to each of the communities.
And
So
see.
the bodybuilding community in Alabama and surrounding, southeast,
Yeah.
the strongman, everybody.
Yeah.
If all those communities pitched in something, you would get close. Even if it's like, everybody puts in $3, $5, you'd get
Interesting.
close.
I'd,
Yeah.
I'd be very. You think?
Yes. I mean, if you said this was going to be like a big strength expo, first of its kind
Yeah.
in Alabama, BJCC, something like
Yeah.
that, like
Yeah. I
and
go. Well, so
BJCC
I have
has
a
a bunch
hookup
of
here at
rooms,
ours.
or that too. Yeah,
I know the girl
Huntsville.
who runs the events here at Von Braun Center.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I've like pitched it to her before. I was like, hey, dude.
I think it's possible. I,
Yeah.
I don't see how, and it can get passed around different WRPF groups. You can
Hmm.
say, fuck, maybe it's regionals.
It wouldn't. It would see, and this would have to be something that would be like 2 years from now, 2 or 3,
Yeah, exactly,
because
though.
next year. But I could. I mean, I would definitely love to
Or
hold that.
nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Put in a
Mm-hmm.
big bid for a big meet, so like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are going.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's something that definitely could happen.
I like it.
So
I like it.
we'll have to brainstorm more on that. But I
Yeah.
I do see it happening just because the one I went to was like, not that it was disorganized, but it was kind of like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It was like so random. I remember walking in not knowing what to expect, and then I got in there and I was like, "There's fucking wrestling. What is happening here?" There's the Highland Games people were like throwing the caber,
Yeah.
the big fucking stick, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like the only thing you saw
Inside.
from across. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh
You saw that
wow.
from across the room. You could see them just fucking hurling a giant log.
Jeez.
It was fucking wild.
That is wild. That to be inside and doing that. I can't even imagine that.
Well, they're not that tall. I guess they're like
It's
18 feet
just
or
that's a lot of
something.
space. You know what I mean? Like to
That
devote a lot of space to.
it wasn't that much space though, because you think like, I mean, they have to run like 25, 30 feet maybe with it, and then they
Yeah.
flip it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's only, maybe 20 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs like 25 feet in front of them and
Mm-hmm.
to the
But if they fuck
sides.
it up
So
and throw it to the side,
it's still 25 feet to the
yeah,
sides. Yeah,
I
it's
guess
not
so.
even 50 feet across, 50
Yeah.
feet long, and you got
Yeah.
enough room.
Yeah.
Their portion was definitely the biggest, obviously.
Yeah.
Like they had the biggest area, but it
Yeah.
was literally just like taped off. They threw indoors. The only other thing is they're throwing weights.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what kind of flooring option you
Right.
would have to do there,
Right.
but
Right.
I don't remember what they did. But Danny, he'd be the guy to know.
Right. And you know Danny.
I do know Danny. I might go see him in 2 weeks, and I'll mention it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'd love to run that. That'd be my favorite.
So we got to do a big strength expo and host bench and deadlift competitions inside a competition, outside of the competition.
I love it.
Competitionception.
Yes. This has
Good.
been great, dude.
I love it.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, everybody. Just wanted to come on and thank you for watching or listening to the podcast wherever you get podcasts at. If you haven't already, go ahead and give us a like, a follow, and a rating on whatever service you use. We'd really appreciate that. And you can let us know in any of the text boxes or comments or on Instagram, wherever you can. Let us know who you might want to see on the podcast next. We're going to try and make that happen. We got a lot of good guests coming for the rest of this year in 2024. And if we can make your suggestions possible, we want to do that for you. All right. Thanks. Appreciate you guys.